Hello. So this might be a little bit of a lengthy video because I'm going to explain how this VoiceMeeter Banana mixer works. And when I started using this, I couldn't really find a good video explaining things. They basically just said, well, click here and click there and turn this and whatnot. They never explain how this actually works. So let's see. Yeah, and I will put all the links to this software in the video description because this software is actually completely free to use. It's what people call donationware. You can donate to the developer, but you don't have to. So the software is actually free, and this software also have a different sort of a virtual cable software. They have a free version and you can get one virtual cable. Then they have a paid version of that, cost actually money, and you get 2 extra virtual cables, cable A and cable B. I actually paid for them because I wanted to have 2 extra virtual cables, but you can manage with one of them. Okay, so when you download it and install this, one thing you need to kind of do is you have the speaker icon down here in the taskbar. Right click on it and select Open Sound Settings. And here to the right you have the sound control panel. Click on that. And normally you have like the speakers as your default speaker, but at the bottom you now got this VoiceMeeter. And I select the VoiceMeeter input as my default device. So you can either click the button here, set default, or just right click on it and select default. On the recordings tab, I actually just select my microphone as default device and also the default communication device. Well, it's the microphone that is built into my webcam. But if you have a different, like the Yeti or whatever, select that microphone as your default one. And while you are in here in the sound settings, you see here at the bottom it says advanced sound options, and you got app volume and device preferences. And right here it's important. Yeah, I got an SMS. It's important here to select your your media player. For example, I use Spotify, but Spotify doesn't show up here. That's because you need to play some music first. And I actually need to mute this because I don't want YouTube to copyright me. So when you start playing music a little bit, it will actually show up here in the settings. So now you got Spotify here. You might use a different player, but it's important that it shows up here, and you can see on this row it says output and you got input, but it's important in the output section here you select the output device, and I selected to the cable input. This may vary for you because I have a virtual cable. So music is going to play to that music or the cable input. So now you can actually close this. So that's the 2 things you need to do first. And the second thing I usually do is you click on this menu. And also you select here, it says System Tray, Run on Startup. So every time you log into Windows, this software will actually start. And you need it to start because it's your default sort of audio device. Yeah, and I also set this one, hook volume keys, to output A1 here, and I explain why later. So that's what I set here in the menu. And then when you start it for the first time, it's probably blinking a red text over here. That's because you have to really set a output yet, or selected the hardware device. And these are actually real hardware devices, like your headset or your sound card or external, sound card, USB sound card or whatever. This is real hardware. If you only use like a headset, you select that device here on A1. So you click on it, and all of your sound devices show up here. And which one should you choose? The KS, MME, or VDM? For the most part, VDM works. I think it stands for Windows Device Manager. So select these ones. Your headset should be showing up here, like your Razer, if you have a Razer headset or whatever. Yeah, select that one. And of course, your system may vary. Your hardware is different from mine. And I can't make a video about every single hardware setup out there. If I had to do that, I had to make millions of videos on each setup. I can't really do that. I can give you recommendations on in what order you can do things, but your hardware is different from mine, so I don't know your hardware, so I can't really make a video about it. Of course, you can ask in the comments, but yeah. So I have two sound cards in my computer. One is built in on the motherboard. That's the Realtek thing. Second sound card is my old Creative Labs RDG2 ZS. It also has an external box you connect to it. But this is the Realtek, and it's actually the digital output from my motherboard, because I have a sound system from Logitech, the Z5000 or 5500, and it has a digital input, so I take the digital output from my computer, from the motherboard, and out to that sound system. So that's what I have on A1. You might have it set it to your headset. If you only use your headset, select your headset on the A1. A2, you might set your analog speakers. So if you have speakers and it's connected to the analog port on your computer, select that one. It's supposed to be like, yeah, the Realtek high definition audio, VDM. And on A3, I actually have my Creative Labs, the analog output, because the external box have a headphone amplifier built in. So my headphones are connected to that external box. So you need to select the analog output here for that to be able to control your headphones, or my headphones. So now you actually set the hardware, and you can see the hardware list over here. So number 1 is the digital output, and number 2 is the analog output from the motherboard, and then the third is the analog output of my second sound card. And this will be the third one, the A3, will be my headphones. So yeah, that's the third thing you need to do. And then we getting to the more complicated things. For you, when you just install this, it might say hardware input 1, hardware input 2, and 3 over here. And over here, it might say something of virtual input, these two. You can actually change the name of this. Most tutorials I've seen about this software, they don't seem to know how to change the name. It still says hardware input. But what is hardware input? I don't know. So how to change the name of this? You actually hold your mouse here, and then you right click on here with your mouse, and then you can change the name to let's say music 2. To save it, you press enter. So right click on it, change the name, press enter. It's that easy. Same thing with these volume sliders here. You can use your left mouse button and drag them up and down. But if you want to be more specific with the number, you can right click on this. You see this box shows up. And here you can type a number, whatever you want, 5 or 5.6. It's actually, you can't use the numpad, you can't use comma. It has to be a dot or dot 6. So yeah, and 0. That's that. So that's how you change names on things. And when you have set up the names for, I have the music here, Discord, and sound effects, and then the desktop audio. And I know that Spotify, I want Spotify to be on this section. I want to regulate the volume and stuff on Spotify over here. And remember that I actually set in the setting, I set it to cable input. Consider that kind of a cable, you're holding a cable in real life, and you connect one end of that, and you connected one end of that to Spotify. Now you need to connect the other end to this mixer. And that's why you do what you do here. Underneath music here, you say says cable output, you click here. And then you're going to select a device or an input. Remember in Spotify, in the sound settings, I set the to cable, regular cable. So I'll select that one. And if you are, actually forgot to start Discord here, but if you are in Discord, you have the user settings down here, the cogwheel. Click on that, and then you go to video and voice, or voice and video. And here I just select the microphone that I use. You might use a Yeti or whatever. Select that here, and on the output device, you can click here and select an output device. I select the cable A. Remember, cable -A input. And over here on Discord, I do the same. I actually select cable A-A here, output. VDM, of course. So now Discord, now we got Spotify here on this channel, Discord on this channel, and now I also want sound effects. And when I stream, I use a chatbot called Streamlabs chatbot. Pretty simple. And in here you have, at the bottom corner here, you have this cogwheel saying settings. So you click on that one, and in the first tab here you see audio device. It only got one audio device. And over here you can select your thing. It can be the cable or whatever. I have the cable B. Set it to that. So now we actually got everything concept. And in the sound effects, in the input section here, you click here, and I select, of course, the cable -B. So now I got everything that I want here. Well, what about the game audio? Well, it depends on the game, actually. I usually play Minecraft, and you can't select an output device in Minecraft. You might be able to do that in other games, you know, on what device it should actually play the game audio. Then you can actually select, there is a thing, this is what I have, the regular VoiceMeeter bio. That is for like Minecraft audio and all, like the web browser and the Chrome or whatever. All of that audio comes here. Then you have this called VoiceMeeter AUX. You can set your game audio to that if you can change the output device. You can't really change the input of this. This is a fixed setting. The only thing you can change are these three. But these are fixed inputs. But in the software, you can actually select the VoiceMeeter AUX input. I think if I go into like here, if you want Discord to be on the OX thing, you can actually select. Let's see if it actually works. No, you can't. That's kind of weird. The VoiceMeeter OX doesn't show up. Okay, good to know, good to know. But in other software, you can actually select that. Anyway, now we got all the inputs here. So let's actually mute. This is actually muted like this. I mute everything and start playing music. Now you can see this volume level meter starts to play here. Same thing when people start to talk on Discord. This volume meter starts to move. Same thing if I play a sound effect on my chatbot, that volume bar will show here as well. So yeah, that's good to know. So yeah, music playing here, which is nice. So let's actually stop this music because I'm going to explain all of these buttons, what they are, and these refer to actually the outputs. You remember you set this A1 to A3 here. These buttons relate to that. You see they have the same name as this. And the only thing these buttons do is that you mute or unmute the audio on that specific device. So if you set your headphones to A1, if you click A1 here, you will mute this channel on your headphones. To unmute it, you click it again so it lights up. Same thing here, if you want to mute, if it's like this, you will hear the music. If you want to mute the music in your headphones, you click A1. Unmute, like this. If you have your speakers on number A2, it's actually now muted. So let's say that you want to have the music both in your headphones and your speakers. You have both this sort of activated, like this. If you only want music in your speakers, you can disable the headphones like that. Remember, headphones are on the A1, speakers A2. So if now the music only plays on the A2 on your speakers. If you don't want music in your speakers, mute it. If you only want music in your headphones, activate this. And this only affects the music. If you don't want to hear Discord on your headphones, mute it. Mute, unmute. Same thing with sound effects. If you don't want to hear the sound effects in your headphones, just mute that channel. And same thing, in my test, I have my speakers on A1, and I got my headphones on A3. So yeah, that's how I do. If I don't want to have the music on my speakers, I just disable A1. Then we got this thing called B1 and B2. They are so-called virtual line out to other software, like OBS. So that would be kind of a good thing. So if I want to, from this one, actually mute the music in OBS, I think, yeah, you do it. You click this one, B1. You can set it to B2 as well. I think it should work. You can have it like Discord on the B2. I think it should work. So if you want music playing on Discord or whatever, you can have B2. I haven't tried it out yet, but I only use B1 because I know B1 goes to OBS. So these controls here only affect the music. if I want to only disable or mute the music, I do it here. But what if I actually want to mute all of this in my headphones? I don't want any audio in my headphones. You have this so-called master section. This affects all of these channels. So if I want to mute all of these channels in my headphones, this also matches, you can see it's a A1, A2, and A3. Then you got B1 and B2. So remember, the A1 might be your headphones and A2 might be your speakers. So if you want to mute everything in your speakers, all of this in your stuff, you press mute over here. Everything here will be muted in your headphones now. If you want to mute everything on your speakers, you do it over here. And my setup is that I have my digital output here to the speakers, then the analog output on my motherboard, and analog output on the second card. And this is my headphone settings. And for some reason, the volume on my headphones are quite loud, so I actually bump it down a bit. I also have an EQ setting here. So if I want to, for example, the mute thing, if I want to mute everything here in my headphones, I just press here. If I only want to mute the music, I just click here, the A3, because A3 is my headphones. I also renamed this, so you can see it says RTD out. If you right click on this one, you can actually rename it to whatever you want. This means, to me, it means Realtek Digital Out. So that's what it means. This means Realtek headphones. This is a Swedish word. And then the third one is a CL headphones. This means Creative Labs headphones. And of course you can rename this. You just right click on it, and when you're done, click enter or press enter. So that's kind of how this works. Yeah, it's actually 22 minutes. I hope it's not too confusing, but the important stuff is that you set up the hardware first, or actually do the sound device first. So you actually select the VoiceMeeter as your default device in the playback section. And remember, if I go here, if I go to the sound control here, in the playback at the bottom, remember I selected to VoiceMeeter input, not the OX, the input, regular, the one without, as my default device. And recording, you can set your microphone as your default device. Whatever microphone you have, you might have the Yeti or the Blue Snowball or whatever it's called. And then, of course, you do it here. You start, if you use Spotify, or you might use VLC as well as a player, or the chatbot. Click here and make sure that the Spotify, your player, it might say VLC here. Make sure it changes the output here. That's kind of important. Also, go to the menu, system here, and hook it up. So if you want to use the keyboard to change the master volume, you can do that. And you can also, these sliders, you can change the volume individually on each device here. So you know that, oh, the music is a little bit loud in my headphones, let's turn it down. Same thing with the headphones, they are a little bit loud, I can turn them down. But the Discord volume seems, that seems okay, so I don't need to change it. You can change all of this at once, so you set it up like this. Then you have the master volume. This master volume change all of this at the same time. So you think, well, everything here it's a little bit too loud, so I'm turning it down a little bit. You can do that over here. But this one is individual, and this only affects what you hear in your headphones. That's important to tell. So this doesn't affect this these sliders doesn't affect OBS at all. It only affects your headphones. So you might think, well, I want to change the volume on the stream. Well, you can't do it here. You need to change the volume on the stream in OBS. So, for example, I got OBS over here while I'm recording. This volume controls, this affects the volume on the stream. So, for example, I can actually maximize this. Yeah, I know it looks a bit weird. I'll actually do it like this. So, in OBS, if you're going to stream, you need to go into, let's see if I can start another instance of this. OBS. Launch anyway, let's see. Yeah, got the second one here, perfect. So let's see, OBS. Do it like this. Damn it. Okay, I can actually, let's drag this one over here a little bit, and I'll do it like this, maybe. You can see it a little bit. Okay, so here you have OBS. So let's say that I have my stream mixer here, and a stream to mixer. We got all of this set up here with all this stuff. You need to set up OBS to actually use the VoiceMeeter mixer. So to do that, if you are on your profile, you go to settings here, and then the audio section. And here you see desktop audio device. For most people, it will just say speakers here. You need to change this. You click here and you change to the VoiceMeeter input. Remember, it's not the aux. It's just the regular VoiceMeeter input. So the desktop audio will now come from this mixer. So everything here that is here will now be sent to OBS. Desktop audio device 2, that's the cable input. And remember, I selected cable over here, which means that this will be the music. And mic auxiliary device, that's my microphone. And then I got the auxiliary number 2, that's cable A. Cable A, that's my Discord. And then also a cable B, and that cable B is my sound effects. So now I set everything up perfectly fine here, and if I go to, let's say, number 6, it's perfectly see here. And you can see here, I also actually renamed everything. So it says I know what it is. This is my C910. It's actually the microphone. Then I got desktop audio, Discord, and music as the SFX. And how do we change that? Well, you can actually, if you go into here and type %app data %, go in here, and in here you got your Minecraft as well. But over here you got the OBS Studio. You go in there, and then you have a folder called Basic. And then you have Scenes. And here are the different scenes that I have. For example, I have one stream mixer. And I open this, you can, it's easy, I have notes, if you right click on it, I edit with Notepad++ because that's an awesome text editor. And what you can do here is, for example, if I just press Ctrl F for find, you can type mic, for example. And here you can see the text for that, and you need to have OBS, shut down to do this. So here you can just edit the text. So if I want to search for the next mic, it should be, okay, because I have that selected maybe. It should be. Okay, mic. Find next. Yeah, here you go. Mic RX3. So yeah, and here you can change everything. Same thing if you want to change the desktop, you just search for desktop. So there you got your desktop audio device, and it should be able to change it actually over here. Desktop audio. Find next. Here it says music, desktop audio 2. And remember, you need to be having OBS closed. So the next time you actually start OBS, it will check in this file, and you get all the names of your things here. I don't know how this works on the Streamlabs OBS. I tried Slobs before, but I just hated it. So I just use OBS Studio. I have no clue how this works on Slobs, so don't ask about Streamlabs OBS. I just don't care about that software. So that's how you do it. If you want to stream, just select the audio, go to the audio section here and select everything. And right here, when you stream, you can, well, the streamers or the viewers think, well, the music is a little bit loud on the stream. I can adjust it over here. Same thing if they think the sound effects are a little bit loud, well, I can adjust that separately here. Same thing with the desktop. If the game music is a bit loud on the stream, I can adjust it here. So that's why I think this software mixer is awesome, because yeah, it will separate everything into its own channel. So I can easily just adjust them in on stream. So yeah, this turned out to be sort of a 30-minute video. I recorded 32 minutes already. So I think I might end. And if this is too confusing, just try to ask me a question on the comments and I'll try to answer it. Or I'll make another video specifically for that question. By the way, if I do exit over there, I have this EQ settings. I have the equalizer settings for my headphones and speakers. So this is for my headphones. If your speakers sound a little bit, or your headphones sounds a little bit, tinny in your when the music plays, you can actually use an equalizer. I have my headphones on the number 3 here. You might have them on number 1. So if you right click on this button here, you can actually set it up like this. I'm going to set it up. Usually it looks like this by default. So the top row here, you see there are numbers. It says hertz. So these are the frequencies you can set up. You can either use the mouse to turn them up and down. If you want to be more specific, just right click here, set your frequency manually. I'll set it to 30 hertz. And I think, let's see, the B 125 500. So 125 over here, press enter. 500, I think it was. So that's the frequencies. And this thing here, and let's actually change this at the bottom. Well, I can show you this. This is the amount or the volume of that. I want to bump up the bass. I want more bass in my headphones. You can drag this up, doing like that. Or you can type like 5. I want the 30 hertz as also, this is also a little bit bass. Let's see what I set it here. Okay, let's actually change my headphones. The headphones, yeah. Let's try the B channel. So 3100, 400. So it's 30, 100, 400. And I think I got it like 5 over here and 7 over here. And then 0, 0, 2, and 4 at the end. 2 and 4. But you see, it's kind of bumpy. That depends on this thing down here. It's kind of how wide the frequency is. It's set to 3 now. I just select it to 1. Same thing here. I set it to 1 on each one of these. And that makes actually the curve a little bit more smooth. You don't get the different bumps here. So now you get a little bit more nicer curve. And I have a separate video about this equalizer as well, but yeah, that's how the equalizer works in it. And now you can, I have it on the A channel here, so yeah, and I have the equalizer turned off on my speakers or my desktop audio or the music and everything, because I don't want the stream to get like an equalizer volume. I only want my headphones to be equalized. So yeah, that's that. 36 minutes. Okay, I told you it would be a long video, but if you have any questions, just ask them in the comments, and I try to answer them. And I might do another video about that as well. So yeah. So catch you later.